on Monday, the Supreme Court ruled 5-4 that officials may strip search people arrested for any offense. It doesn't matter how minor the offense is. Some offenses are as minor as your blinker on your car doesn't work, you didn't have a leash on your dog, you got a fine. And in this case that was actually before the court, the guy had paid a fine. He had documentation in his car saying that I have already paid that fine and hence I don't have a warrant for that arrest. The computer is wrong on that. They're like, yeah, that's fantastic. We're going to put you in jail for 7 days in several different jails. And every jail we transfer you to, even though you're completely innocent, we're going to strip search.
So he was actually transferred twice. His name is Albert Florence, by the way. And each time he was transferred, as you mentioned, they did a strip search. And, you know, his quotes are very telling. He says that, you know, one of the guards told him to turn around, squat and cough, spread your cheeks. So, of course, this is a very humiliating process. And as you mentioned, Cenk, he already had documentation indicating that he had paid that fine. And he wasn't even the driver in the car. He was the passenger in the car.
And he works in finance at a BMW dealership. They're in a BMW. You know, they're dressed well, going to a party, but it doesn't matter. He's innocent. He's not driving. He's got the documentation. But they strip search him several times as they keep him, to me, even keeping him in jail for a week when the guy is completely innocent is maddening. Then we just showed you the picture of the person involved here. Gee, I wonder why. I can't quite figure out what the factor is here that might have led to this guy who's an upstanding citizen being strip searched several times in several different prisons as they just refuse to let him go, even though he's got the documentation on how he's totally and utterly innocent from a court. From a court. No, yeah, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you're driving in a BMW. It doesn't matter what job you have. It doesn't matter that you're innocent. It doesn't matter that you have a court order showing you're innocent. All right, so anyway, he brings this case for very, very good reasons. This is demeaning. The Supreme Court says not only can we strip search you for any goddamn reason, for any offense, right, no, however minor, but on top of that, we don't need a reason to suspect that you have contraband. Like you could say, hey, listen, you know what? We arrested the guy on a minor thing, but sometimes you pull over guys on minor things, but they actually have done major crimes. And then when we saw that he was hiding something, we thought, oh my God, he shoved something in his pocket. We had a reason to suspect. Okay? Well, then we're having a different conversation. You go to a prison for a felony and they want to do a strip search. Okay, no problem. Do your strip search. You have a reason to suspect. Do your strip search. Here, they're like, it doesn't matter either way how minor the offense is, and we have no reason to believe you have contraband. Justice Kennedy, the guy who was the deciding vote here, says, in one case, there was a guy who stuck tobacco and a lighter and some tattoo needles in his anus. It could happen. It could happen. And he was arrested on a very minor charge, and he had tobacco up his ass.
No, but okay, let's focus on that. Let's focus on that story though, okay? That was like the reason that really stuck out to him, right? And that's what made him go over the edge and vote this way. What's the worst that could happen if he has tobacco up his ass? Okay, so he goes to prison and he has tobacco up his ass. Either he's gonna smoke that tobacco or a guard's gonna find it and confiscate it and it'll be fine. Why are you taking away people's privacy, people's civil liberties, people's rights for something as stupid as that?
So now let's talk about that. Now he says if it's tobacco, maybe it could be a knife, right? But think about it, you have to balance, and the court always balances these things, right? What's the possible danger versus, you know, what are the downsides? And the downside is clear. Justice Stephen Breyer, who voted the other way, said this is a serious affront to human dignity and individual privacy. That's obviously true. And the justice in the minority pointed out, wait, aren't you guys in favor of, you know, liberty, et cetera, and leaving people alone? You don't want big government to get involved. Now you want big government to go into every orifice we have, even on the most minor charge, even on no reason to suspect. Now, to give you a sense of how absurd it is, people have been arrested for, and this will apply to, and it was cited in the articles covering the case, noisy mufflers, okay? Riding a bicycle without an audible bell. You can get arrested and then strip searched over and over on those kind of charges. And here comes the dangerous part, okay? Because you might say, oh, well, you know, how often is that going to happen? First of all, it shouldn't happen at all. But then, this can happen quite often. And they did do this. They arrested a nun who was an anti-war protester, and they strip searched.
Wow.
and none. Okay? Now, Scalia, who claims to be religious, et cetera, a big-time Catholic, you're strip-searching nuns. Who cares? I'm going to vote with the Republicans. It doesn't matter how this thing goes. I should say with the official Republican position. But don't get me wrong. The Justice Department, Barack Obama's Justice Department, was on the wrong side here, as usual, saying, of course, we demand the authority to strip search everybody. More executive power, more executive power. And then, of course, the Supreme Court justice, the right-wing guys, turn around and go, look, even the Obama Justice Department is on our side. And who are they going to apply it to? You think they're not going to apply it to protesters? Well, not only are you wrong on the idea that President Obama would never do that, you're wrong on the facts if you think that, because the Justice Department in the case made this argument, quote, protesters who decide deliberately to get arrested might be stopped by police. They see the squad car behind them. They might have a gun or contraband in their car and think, hey, I'm going to put that on my person. I just need to get it somewhere that is not going to be found during a pat-down search, and then potentially they have the contraband with them. So that is a lawyer for the Obama Justice Department saying, you got to give us the ability to strip search all protesters. God knows what they could put on their person. So this is yet another way, on top of all the other problems, which is the executive branch over grabbing of power, a violation of our privacy, human dignity, all those things. On top of that, by the way, the minute you're in a protest, we got another thing to intimidate you. We're going to arrest you, right or wrong. We're going to put you in jail. We're going to strip search you, right or wrong. Whether we have reason to suspect you've done anything wrong or have contraband, it doesn't matter. Supreme Court, just let us go house on you. All right, so now this is the America we live in.